Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
Owning a boat comes with a number of perks, like being able to say, ahoy, or land ho, and not feel weird about it. So here's another perk. Geico's boat insurance offers access to the largest towing fleet on the water. And with specialist support from agents that are as passionate about boating as you are, there's so much value that you'll want to say, shiver me timbers, and not feel weird about that either. Get more with Geico.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. I am your host, Andrew Rich, joined today by a first-time guest here on the show. He is a regular in the VOW Discord, known as Cola the Lodger. Hello, Cola.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am, as I told you in the message when you reached out to me, I am stunned and honored. The heavy hitters you have had on this show, in this iteration alone. I mean, you'd have had Damon, the captain, Rich Latta, Mara, Andy. These are people, to steal a euphemism, that can talk ball musically. I'm just a guy that, says, fuck yeah about things, so I really appreciate you having me on.
I'm glad you're here for sure. I figure, right out of the bat, I'll ask you this question here. Where does the name Cola the Lodger come from?
Okay, so it's kind of a combination of 2 nicknames. The Lodger is a long-time handle I've had. As a kid, I was a huge fan of old-time radio, and there was an old-time radio show called Suspense, and the very first episode was called The Lodger, and it was based off of, it was Alfred Hitchcock's The Lodger, and I just thought it was a cool name, and so I just thought it was a name that stood out, and that didn't make me look like such a loser in my Halo games, And and then Cola is a nickname I picked up because my dear friends ascribed it to me just because of the obscene amount of soda that I drink. I mean, I put Joe Lanza to shame. I mean, Joe Lanza thinks he drinks a lot of soda. I promise he would tell me to go see a doctor. It's truly obscene.
Do you call your dad Pop? Folks, we have fun here, don't we? Oh, so come on now. But
I gotta throw some roses at you, sir. You, my friend, are always known as like the producer. You're the music man, but what you do not get enough credit for is your references, especially in that Discord. You are like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 robot. Like, there is no reference that that someone throws that you don't catch, and your references are always like not obscure but timely, and I don't know. So you are the king of the references, sir.
Well, thank you. That's what a lifetime of not going out and just watching movies and TV and reading books just does to a guy. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But the other thing is, I'm in the Eastern time zone. You're in the Mountain time zone. Where do you live exactly? What state?
I'm in Colorado, Southern Colorado specifically. So yeah, it's hence my propensity for marijuana rock.
I was going to say. I was going to say, spoiler alert, all of your picks today are of the stoner rock and doom metal varieties, things like that. And a lot of those bands do tend to come from the western states. So it all kind of lines up there. It all comes together there, Cola.
Right. Well, being in Colorado, you kind of I grew up here, right? And so you kind of get the best of the East Coast and the West. You're kind of like, because I got plenty of East Coast there. I mean, I lived on the East Coast for a while, and when I called soda pop once, everyone looked at me like I had a third head. I know, it was just the craziest thing. And my parents are Southern, and I always called it Coke. So it's no matter what it was. So I just being in Colorado, you're kind of mixture of everything, and so I got ECW on my 1 a.m., satellite feed that my dad was paying for. And I also got, Silicon Valley stuff, so it's like, it's weird being in Colorado. So it's kind of the mixture of all of everything.
Cool. Well, today's episode here, it's called One Count. And of course, it's based on one of my favorite things in wrestling, which is the 1 count kick out towards the end of a match where two guys are just slugging it out and one of them hits a big move and you think, all right, that's it, the match is over. And then he kicks out at 1 and he fires up and the crowd goes nuts. You see it in Ishii matches and Shingo matches, Takeshita, guys like that. And it always gets a big pop out of me, especially in the right moment, because you can't do it too early. You can't do it every single match. But at the right moment, the right time, it can be an awesome moment for sure, Cola.
Hell yeah. Well, and I was and here's the thing, and this is kind of what I was going for with this topic, was that, and one of the reasons why I picked it is to advance, other than to advance my doom metal agenda, was that it what's the other thing that's always known about the 1 count, right? It's like you're out after that. Like most of the time, you get up after that 1 count in most pro wrestling psychology. We're like, okay, this is it. You're going to have to kill him again. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I kind of justified a lot of that in my doom metal thing. Cause it's very much like a last gasp. It's like, it's very primal. Nothing about this music is advanced, we're not going to be playing I'm not going to be playing a lot of Yes here, and so
hey, now come on.
Right. No, well, it's not meant to be complicated. It's meant to be very simple. It's like, it's at its most primitive stages. And so that's why I went for it, is because it's such a basic thing in pro wrestling that's so unexpected. The 1, 2, it's almost a rhythm, and then like to have that circumvented that one time, when it's done well, I mean, it's one of the greatest pops of all time.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind always for me is a recent one, kind of, Ospreay versus Omega from Forbidden Door a couple of years ago, the rematch, where Ospreay hit Omega with the one-winged angel, and Kenny kicks out at 1, and he's pounding the mat because he's so enraged that Ospreay stole his move, and the place just goes nuts, because nobody kicks out of that move ever when Omega hits it. So for him to kick out of that, his own move at 1 is a little extra spice on the match there. And as you alluded to, of course, again, soon afterwards, Ospreay hits the Tiger Driver and the Stormbreaker, and that's it. So 1 count kickouts. We are doing, as far as music goes, we are playing songs with 1-word song titles. That's it. Pretty simple.
Andrew, did you have? I had a couple of rules for mine, like in terms of, because I with my style of music, right? I was lucky because I had a vast array to choose from, because this style of music, you're either going to get 1 word or a novel as the song title. And so I had about like 50 songs to choose from. And so I had to pare it down. So I had to make myself some rules. So I said no names. I said names are cheap, so I got them out of there. Mm-hmm. I tried to avoid plurals, and I tried to avoid combo names, like combo words. I feel that made up words are completely fair. So those were my rules.
Yeah, I don't think I have any names on mine. I'm checking right now. My only thing was I wanted to pick artists that I have not played on the show yet, since I started doing the remix format, because this is one of those topics where it's not beholden to a specific genre. Pretty much every artist has, 1-word song titles. So I wanted to play artists and bands that I have not featured yet at all, either by me or by the guest on the show so far. So that's kind of my one thing there. But other than that, it's pretty much, fair game, in my opinion. But
nice.
We have 10 picks each, a play-out song at the end, of course, as well. And as I said earlier, Cola, you're a pretty big stoner rock guy. That's all of your picks there, really. I decided to have this thing called variety with my picks. I don't know if you've heard of that.
What is that?
Before.
I don't understand. Variety? What's? I don't know.
It's going to be a bit of a wild episode here for sure. But that's kind of the point of the whole show. It's for each guest to bring their own musical taste to the proceedings. And all I do is say, give me, 8 to 10 songs for this topic. And what they give me is all up to them. And who am I to say no to your heavy, crunchy guitars and your deep bass grooves, Cola? Who am I? Come on.
I figured you came to me for a reason, man. One of my goals as well that I really tried to do, with the exception of one song that I know for a fact I didn't. We were in a music league in the Discord, which is how we met.
Right.
And so I really tried to avoid songs I that were featured in there. I think I did it okay, but we were in there for a long time. So that wasn't a hard and fast rule for me. But if you played with me in that area, you know what my lane is. I'm not averse to other styles of music, far be it. But in terms of just what I listen to and what my thing is and what I keep track of, and if I'm a music fan of anything, I'm not a musician. I'm not any of those things. But I know a specific and very niche style of metal, and I'm happy to hopefully make some fans out of it in this show.
Well, there's one band in particular I remember from Music League, and I can't wait to talk about it. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. Don't worry. But you are the guest, Cola. You will go first. What's your first pick?
Well, so I wanted to open it up, and I really tried to avoid chalk picks in terms of what the genre of stoner metal is. It's a lot of people bristle. It's the stoner metal. Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age and Caius. He very much didn't dig that term. I'm okay with it. To me, it's like what this style of metal is. You can call it stoner if you want. I don't bristle at the term. It's fine. If you look at the genre metal, it doesn't necessarily run from it. And neither does this band who we're going to talk about first, which is one of the icons of the genre. And it's a band called Sleep. And it's and it's the song that I heard live. It's from the middle of the album, from their really eponymous debut, Sleep's Holy Mountain from 1992, Aquarian.
Trapped in a world underneath the ocean, closing your eyes with a magic potion.
So it's, you can very much hear it through a haze of marijuana smoke. However, as you can hear, it's really just Black Sabbath, and that's really why you can call it stoner metal, and that's fine. I think it's a fair term, but the preferred term I have is orthodox metal. There's one foot always in Black Sabbath, and then it tries to take the other foot and expand it out. And that's kind of what most of the whole genre is about. Is you're paying homage to the original gods, but you're also kind of like stepping out, and that's what Aquarian and this was in 1992. Like that's what makes this song so special to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does sound like a descendant of Master of Reality for sure. But yeah, it's no surprise really. Almost all of your picks are new to me. So I am going in blind in that haze of pot smoke that you mentioned there. And
I should have warned you, if you do indulge, dear listener, now is the time.
And I'm not a big fan of the genre to begin with, so my notes for each song will be a bit scant at times.
I get it.
But to me, just looking up the band, it does look like Sleep is one of the more influential stoner rock bands out there. I mean, Cannabis Leaves are literally on the album cover here.
Yes.
So they are at the forefront of this emerging scene. I do like these lyrics. Trapped in a world under leagues of ocean, the clergy arrives with a magic potion. I put my mouth into the cup of potion, sip down the nectar, and escape the ocean. It's very prog rocky, Cola. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these guys listen to. You think these guys listen to Sir King Crimson? You know, like
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
right. Like it's like I said, and the lyricist for the band, Al Cisneros, he has another band called Ohm. I mean, the guitarist is Matt Pike of High on Fire. You know, I mean, and you don't have to venture too far into metal to know that name. But the bassist, Al Cisneros, has a side project called Ohm, and his lyrics are very similar, very like meditative, I think I put them on the playlist once, but it's very like, the lyrics, I mean, let's be honest, they don't make a whole lot of sense, or they do if you're really, really stoned.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I was going to say a little wacky tobacco to make more sense there. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that but it's very much like, I'm such a fan of like Sabbath and just like that style of metal that I always will come back to it. I just need riffs and I need the guitar and the bass like playing with each other, and really nobody does it better than those two in Sleep.
Mm-hmm. All right, my first pick here, just to really convey how different our lists are going to be here. This is the Bee Gees, the brothers Gibb, Barry, Robin, and Maurice. I picked a song from their album Spirits Having Flown, and this song is called Tragedy. That's a real toe tapper, as the kids say. And it might be my favorite Bee Gees song, really. I love it a lot. I was one of those guys growing up who was a rock and a metal guy. I like my Sabbath, I like my Zeppelin, I like my Rush, my Deep Purple. Bee Gees, I don't like those Bee Gees and their damn disco, get out of here. And then I got older, and I started exploring other genres of music. And it turns out these Bee Gees, pretty darn good. They have a lot of really damn good songs with all these incredible harmonies, and Barry Gibb with that just insanely high falsetto, and he just holds that note into the chorus, loving you, for a whole minute, really. Incredible. So yeah, I've come to really enjoy and respect the brothers Gibb there, Cola.
I'm with you. It sort of comes with the territory of the metalhead. Disco's always like, but I've grown out of that long ago. And so it's one of those songs where I know I've heard, but I didn't know it was this song, And so like, I gave this song a couple of listens, and we talk about the brothers Gibb and the way that they sing, and it's very, very thing, but their ability to write catchy choruses, like that chorus is going to be in your head for the next 3 weeks. It was in mine, it sticks. It's so good. I mean, that chord when he's done with the belting, which is weird because I never heard of Gibbs do a belt before. I've heard belt in the background, but I haven't heard solo belt, and when Gibbs is just letting it out and I'm like, oh man, that's odd. It's almost uncomfortable for me to hear. And then it based into this, like, the coolest chorus I've ever heard. I don't know. It's such an earworm, man. That song is so catchy. And we talk about that like it's super easy to do, right? Like anybody can do it. But I mean, like that's what makes that's why you got to put respect into the Gibbs, into the brothers Gibb. Like they're just they make music that is not easy to make, and it's timeless. Like today, it sounds you could play this in a club right now, and everyone would be like, heck yeah, this is awesome.
For sure. I mean, half the songs in the 70s, half the hits are basically them, Saturday Night Fever, that whole album was a monster as well, a big Grammy winner. So yeah, nothing but respect for those guys. And Barry's the last one left, sadly. Robin and Maurice are gone.
Yeah, that's right.
And they had another brother, Andy Gibb, who also died pretty young. So there's just the one BG now, sadly, for sure. But
yeah. I mean, I guess the reason why I always bristled against disco and what probably turned me on to metal more than anything is that my mom always used to play like disco, like to wake me up on weekends, like when it was time to like do chores and stuff. Like I can't tell you how much like September by Earth, Wind and Fire is just ruined. Not because of weddings, not because it's played at every single wedding you've ever been to ever. It's because my mom used to me, it's like time to get up and it's Saturday morning and all I want to do is sleep. And so that's what this song reminded me of. I was like, oh man, my mom's cleaning. Now it means I'm gonna have to clean. So let that be a lesson to you parents out there. Don't use your music as alarm clocks for your kids. You'll get them to hate your music.
All right, Kolo, what's your next pick?
So the next one to shift right back down to my level is a song by the band name of Bongzilla. Hold on just a second, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Had to cough. Bongzilla, which I mean, leave that in too, Andrew. Bongzilla. The song is called Marijuanakin. In the USA, I'm a marijuanakin by the grace of God. It's just Bongzilla is just one of those bands. I love the honesty of it. It's like Cypress Hill, It's just like it's like fuck you, we're about marijuana. And Bongzilla's from Wisconsin. It's a state that still doesn't even have legal. I think they have legal medical, and so it's like. And they've been foot soldiers in this battle since the 90s, and like, I don't know. And they're still going strong. And I wanted to have some gruffier vocals. I promise it of all of them, I think that's the roughest of the vocals, maybe Neurosis. But this one, of my style of music, I like the fact that the screams always are there to scare off the squares.
Well, consider me a square, because I'm not a big fan of that one.
Yeah.
I don't mind yelling vocals at times. I just don't like how rough it is. I like to be able to at least hear the guy's lyrics, and know what he's saying. But you're right. This band definitely wears their love for marijuana on their sleeves. They're called Bongzilla. The album is called A Marijuanakin. The album cover has a cartoon soldier smoking a joint on it. And there's only 3 lines in the song, but they're all wonderful. Oh, say we love weed by the bong's burning light. We so proudly inhale the bowl's last burning. Born in the USA and a marijuanakin by the grace of God. They certainly love the ganja, don't they, Kola?
I don't know. From a guy, one of my background in a past life, I was there when recreational marijuana first hit Denver. I was working for a documentary series at the time, so we were following a lot of the a lot of the early days of retail marijuana budding up, pardon the pun, in Denver and everything. And so I became really radical about it, to the point where if cola ever hits it big and becomes a big shock jock, that's going to be my entrance. That's going to be my now coming in cola, and then that song's going to start playing. That's my love of this song.
I'm looking at some other song titles here on the album. Cash Under Grass, Weedy Woman, Champagne
they do a ripping
and Reefer.
cover of Muddy Waters' Champagne and Reefer on that
Champagne
album.
and Reefer. It's a real 420 fest going on here, folks.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
absolutely. Well, speaking of marijuana, my next band technically has a weed reference in their name, because this band is called Supergrass. They're from the UK, and I picked a song from their album Life on Other Planets, and this song is called Grace.
Well, we jumped all night on your trampoline. When you kissed the sky, it made your sister scream. You ate our chips and you drank our Coke, and then you showed me Mars through your telescope. Oh, Grace, say goodnight for the children. 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 Oh, Grace, say goodnight, go. Where you sang your songs and you made us laugh, and so we captured you in a photograph. And when the stars came out, your mother called your name. But when the morning comes, we'll get together again. Oh, Grace, say goodnight for the children. Oh, Grace, say goodnight for the children. Oh, Grace, say goodnight.
So I discovered that song in Lego Rock Band, of all places. And it's funny, I looked up the video for this song, and pretty much all of the comments are about Lego Rock Band. So I'm not alone there. There are dozens of us. Dozens. But yeah, this is just a fun pop rock song. I love the chorus. Oh, Grace, save your money for the children. Oh, Grace. I like it a lot. I haven't listened to a lot of Supergrass. They're one of the lesser tier Britpop bands in terms of like stature and international fame. But I like their stuff, Cola.
Yeah, I'm also not familiar. I mean, I am criminally, like, Damon from Super J-Cast would like beat the hell out of me just because of how criminally little I know about like the Britpop scene in general. But I do know that Supergrass is one of those bands you can mention without getting your ass kicked. Isn't it incredible that it took that long for a band called Supergrass to come up? You know, like you'd think the 70s, surely, you know, like you'd see some band called Supergrass, but yeah, it was just that. No, but it's a real fun song, and it's a real kind of like trippy entrance. And I don't know, like it's a real, you know, like it's poppy, but it's like dense, you know, it's very, you know, it's big noise to it, you know. I dug it. I dug it a lot.
Yeah, I think they're touring the UK this year for the 30th anniversary of their debut album, I Should Coco. And that was, I believe, the fastest selling debut album on Parlophone Records since the Beatles, Please Please Me, which is quite the achievement.
Jeez.
So, yeah, Supergrass, they're still going today, I believe.
Put some respect in their name. Apologies to Supergrass.
Good for them. Good for them, yeah.
Shot you some strays, undeserved. Topping the Beatles in UK, that's not nothing.
Yeah. Well, what's your next pick there, Cola?
So the next pick for me is a band called Fu Manchu. They're out in California. Desert rock, and boy, are they ever. And this song is called Superbird.
Took my Superbird down to the track. Saw a Camaro pulling the stacks. Flag went down, hill the rubber burned. Lucky shift got me in the turn. Must have been riding with Lady Luck. Flipping his wig, his gears are stuck. The Camaro so far behind. I'm out of gear, coasting to the line.
it's that's from like their debut album. I think it was like from 1990 something or other. And they're still going strong. They're still kicking out albums today. Their latest album was fantastic. Their guitarist Bob Balk is in so many side projects. I mean, he's been teaming up a lot with Yawning Man's. I can't remember his name, Gary something or other, but he just does a lot of work on the side. And Fu Manchu is a band that I think definitely deserves a lot more noise and respect because they, like your buddy Cola, very much stay in their lane. This song is from their debut album, and you could play their song from their latest album, and it's going to sound pretty much the same, a little bit more enriched. The end of this song has a cool little slow portion, and that's another theme you probably picked up on, Andrew. And most we like our soft middles, you know. We like our and Fu Manchu is one of the kings of that because on top of just writing ripping riffs that make you feel like you're Mad Max in the desert, their solo work, and then they get kind of spacey and shit. The guitarist made just recently had a side project called Slower, which was taking Slayer songs and then making them doom metal, so slowing them down to doom metal songs. I mean, that's how heavy these guys can get. But again, it's very much like you play this band at the beach, you know?
Hey, Fu Manchu, can you name one of the states of matter? Solid! Correct answer. Yeah, this is one of the bands I've heard of. Because I know they were part of the desert rock scene out there in the Palm Desert with Caius and eventually Queens of the Stone Age. I think they're turning 40 years old this year, actually, which is
they haven't
pretty
stopped.
crazy.
Yeah, they just keep coming out. And bangers still. I mean, they're still... like I said, there's something to just like they know what they do and they just kick ass at it, you know. And it's they if you ever get to see them live, they're a hell of a live act. And you know, I respect any band. I saw them live once, and I respect any band that takes a live request. That takes balls, you know. Like, and so it's and they did it. So they're one of the cooler like desert rock bands, and their sound is so diverse yet so like. Pretty much this, you know, just desert, you know, cruising on desert shit, you know. Yeah,
they must really love cars because this song's about a guy racing his car, the Superbird. And they have a lot of other songs about cars and driving, and a bunch of their album covers have cars on them too. So, yeah, they're big car guys apparently there, Cola, yeah.
It's Mad Max, you know. It's that's what it is. To me, it's like it's desert and cars and taking, you know, No One Rides for Free is the name of this album here, you know, because it's just very much the California stoner hippie lifestyle where they're going out to fucking Joshua Tree or whatever, you know. It's just like that's the life they lived, is just a life on the driving on the highways of California, which is just hot desert.
Ass, gas, or grass, no one rides for free, as they say. All right, my next pick here. I brought these guys up a couple episodes ago, but this is my first time playing them on the show here. Another UK band called 07. And this is from their 2004 album called When It Falls. And this features a lady named Tina Deco on vocals. This song is called Home.
Wrapped in silent elegance, beautifully broken down as illusions pass. Too late to learn from experience, too late to wonder how to finish fast. Take me somewhere we can be alone. Make me somewhere I can call a home. 'Cause lately I've been losing all my
So again, I brought those guys up on the covers episode with Andy, because I talked about Jose Gonzalez, who did some work with them. And again, I'm not like a huge down-tempo guy, but like 10 years ago, I just put this album on, and I became a fan. And this song is pretty much emblematic of the rest of the album. Just this nice, chill music with pretty vocals. Take me somewhere we can be alone. Pretty much the opposite of what you're playing today here, Cola. But
I push back on that, sir.
I was gonna say, but then it builds.
Yeah, the end just doom as hell, man. That's doom metal. Is that doom?
Yeah, and this big crescendo in the end with the horns. So yeah, 07, great band, and they're not a 0 in my book, Cola. That's for sure.
Easily, probably like this, my second favorite song that you put on this playlist. Because that ending just is fucking incredible. I love it when a horn comes in too. You bring a cacophony of instruments doing that sort of like that basic that tritone, that doom boom doom. It's you're pushing an open door with Cola. Like that's very much my shit. So yeah, thank you so much for introducing this band to me, because you made a fan out of this guy.
Oh, goody. Yeah, I was actually mulling between this song and another song on the album called Somersault, which has Sia on vocals.
Right, yeah.
Because she did plenty of work with the band. Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, she's really good, but they're one of those bands where they have like different vocalists on different songs, and Sia did a lot of work with them back in the day before she really blew up as a solo artist. So yeah, When It Falls, it's my favorite 07 album. And that's my big recommendation here for the band here. But
you made a fan out of me, that's for sure.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm really glad to hear it. But what is next for us there?
So the next song, I'm hoping to make fans out of everyone. This band, it's a fairly new band. Some would consider Up Them Coming. They're here. Like, this is their band. They released an album last year, which is incredible. But this is from an album they released back in 2021. From their debut album called, and it's like, to me it's like their radio hit, and it's the song called Horses. Now, the band, this song is not really indicative of the kind of the music they're playing, especially with their latest album that just came out. Like, it just won the Obelisk's like Reader of the Year poll, readers like Album of the Year poll. This latest ride is much more meditative, deserty. But you could tell this band is very much made in the desert. If you liked what you heard in that clip, it's pretty much the whole song. My favorite part is really the lyrics. I think the lyrics of the song kick so much ass. I don't know, Andrew. I know I'm not trying to get all political here, but I would like someone to take this song and edit it to footage of January 6th. Because it's just like, this is what, don't you know what it is? This is the sound of your horses, and that is such a powerful statement. So I love this album. I love this song. And thanks for letting me feature it.
Yeah, I looked these guys up, Slamosa. They're literally touring the States right now. And they're going to be in Boston next month, actually, which is pretty interesting.
They're opening for Helmet, I think, aren't they?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good for them, yeah. I know Helmet for sure, because of Unsung. That's their big song, yeah. But this is the song from your list I've enjoyed the most so far, I think. Mostly because the music video is the band performing on stage, and in the crowd, there's a bunch of people wearing like those horse head masks and rocking out and drinking at the bar. That was a pretty nice thing there. But the song's pretty good too. I'll say that, Cola.
Yeah, it's very, like I said, it's not terribly complex. You're not going to hear a terribly, pickety solo. But it's very much indicative of riding through the desert, and to me, the lyrics are really salient for our time. So it's a really, really fun song.
Yeah, I don't know that many Norwegian bands. Aha is huge, obviously. I know Röyksopp, Dimmu Borgir. Those are the three I've actually heard of. I think Sweden has more well-known artists on an international scale. I think there, Kola. So
well, it's so weird because the Scandinavians, they like most of like a lot of like desert rock, a lot of like what you would consider desert rock is made by like Scandinavians. Like Color Haze is Dutch. It's like, what do you guys know about the desert? Like it's so weird, but but that's where a lot of them come from that.
Yeah. All right, my next pick here. This is a guy who was once blinded by science, but he's all better now, so good for him. This is Thomas Dolby, and I went with a song from his album called The Flat Earth. This is a song called Hyperactive! !
But tonight I'm on the edge. You better shut me in the fridge because I'm burning up. I'm burning up. With the vision in my brain and the music in my veins and the dirty rhythm in my blood. They're messing with my heart. And they're messing with my heart. And they're messing with my heart. Won't stop messing with mine, ripping me apart. Hyperactive when I fall, hyperactive now I'm gone, hyperactive when the night is young. And I'm messing with my heart.
Some more horns there, Kola, for your liking, I hope.
That's right.
So I discovered that song in the credits of the show Legion on FX a few years ago, which is about the Marvel character who's a mutant
Great
who's
show.
really powerful but also mentally ill. And this song is about connecting mental illness and music in a way, with the vision in my brain and the music in my veins. I'm burning up when I'm having an attack, and the video is like this nightmare therapist appointment. So it's a good fit there. There's a great remix of it too out there. And I just know the two songs by Thomas Dolby. It's this and She Blinded Me with Science. But I like the song a lot there, Kola. Yeah.
He was more of like a producer guy, wasn't he? I don't know. I don't know too much about because those are the only two songs I knew about him. I did read that apparently they had designs on making this song for Michael Jackson, and boy, does it show.
Oh, that could work. Yeah.
Right. You could. I mean, I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson ripped this song off. I've heard this song ripped off before. I like this song and Tragedy. I've like those were the two songs you put on this list where I'm like, I've heard this song ripped off. So somebody's ripping off this song presently. I'm gonna find out who. Because but yeah, it's a really fun song and it's really bouncy. It's like a montage song. It's very much like you could put this on a like getting stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad actually interviewed Thomas Dolby some years ago for his radio show. It was like 10 minutes or whatever, but he was a nice guy, and yeah, he's like an actual music scientist or whatever. Like he founded this company that invented this tiny audio file in the 90s that was used to play audio on the internet and would also be used to make polyphonic ringtones in Nokia cell phones. So yeah, he's like a proper nerd is Thomas Dolby. That's for sure, Kola. So yeah.
Dolby Digital. I mean, right? Isn't he the same guy? In that
I don't know, but
I believe it if somebody told me that. I didn't do that much research.
Me neither. But let's go with it. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go to the next song.
Yeah.
By a band that I just am dying to talk to you about. Andrew Rich.
I cannot wait.
It's a band called Dr. Colossus from Australia, and the song is called "Pick a Bar."
What am I supposed to
Yes, and Andrew, as I referred to you earlier, is the king of the references, and so this band is entirely based. Their whole gimmick, so to speak, is they make Simpsons music. They make music based off of the Simpsons. Similar to Oakley Dokley, for my money, I think they kick the shit out of Oakley Dokley. Like, to me, this is my Simpsons metal reference band of choice, and it was one of the two bands I was really excited to feature to try to get as many people listening to this band as I can. They are just incredible. They make, and this song in particular to me is like it's a revelation. The whole song is really, really good.
Yeah, this was the band I hinted at earlier from the Music League. And this is hands down my favorite pick of yours today. To me, any band that is just nothing but Simpsons references is A-OK in my book. And that episode, Brother from the Same Planet, it's all in the song. You know, What the Hell is Pick-a-Bar, Trab, Puke, Sip, Jerry the Cowboy, Brian Bartlett Star. And the album is called I'm a Stupid Moron with an Ugly Face and a Big Butt and My Butt Smells and I Like to Kiss My Own Butt. All the members are dressed like stonecutters. It's so great, Cole. It's so great.
Yeah, they are. I wish them all the. I think that they are a band custom made for me, you know, and because they do like the album cover is very much indicative of Sleep's Dope Smoker. But instead it's Otto. It's a Weedian, you know. It's like these guys. Their first album was called the Death Mountain Collective. And I thought about featuring a song called Mono, but it's very doomy. But it's about the monorail episode, and all of their shit's about that. One of my favorite things about this whole album. This album was my album of the year of 2018, or 19, or whatever it came out. To me, it was my album of the year. Like they have a song called Space Coyote, which is exactly about like Homer's trip on his ghost pepper. They have a song called Get Mendoza. You know, that is all about, you know, amazing song that's all about the Scorpio episode, So Long Stinktown, you know, and it's I don't know, like if you at all enjoy The Simpsons, I mean, I'm talking peak era Simpsons, they came out with a Christmas song called Buy Me Bone Storm or Go to Hell. You know, and it's there. I don't know. Like these guys know their Simpsons and they know their metal, and so if you're at all a fan of either of those two things, get you some Dr. Colossus.
And the good thing about The Simpsons is that even if they just use the, you know, quote unquote the good years of the show, that's still like 10 seasons worth of materials to choose from. They can keep this thing going for a long time, just with songs like Bort, Steamed Hams, Chow Dare, SMRT. It's an endless fountain of ideas.
I thought a song about Mo could be Kid Gruesome. So there you go, Dr. Colossus. If you're listening, there's a free one from me.
I'm just waiting for them to do the stoner rock version of I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. No, you'll never make a monkey out of me. Like we gotta have that, Cole. We gotta have it. Come on. But anyway, up next, we can either play my next song, or we can have whatever's in this box. The box. No. My next pick here, this is Wolfgang Van Halen, son of Eddie. Now, I technically played him a few episodes ago on a Van Halen song, but this is his solo band, and his solo band is called Mammoth WVH. So a nice little tribute there to the original name of the Van Halen band, Mammoth. And this song is a tribute to his dad. This is off of their self-titled debut album, and the song is called Distance.
I'm still crying. Don't want this place. A world without you. I don't think I'll ever move on. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the
So that song, it came out as a single a few months after Eddie died of cancer, and it hits pretty hard. You know, I'm so happy you found a place that's better for you than this rock we're living on. I'm so nervous, don't know my place, a life without you, I'm not ready to move on. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, you'll be okay. It's like the feelings, it hurts. And the video, too, is made up of home movies of Eddie and Wolfgang hanging out together. It's a great song, but man, it's heavy, Cola.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I see it because I was like, at first I was like, man, this band's called Mammoth. You know, you're Van Halen's kid. Rock out, buddy. And then it's like, oh, the second you said it's about his dad, I'm like, well, there goes all the takes that Richard had, because that ain't gonna happen. But because what I admire most about this song is that, and especially since it's a tribute to his dad, is the solo is great. I really like the solo because it's not trying to be Eddie. You know, it's like it's its own thing, and it wouldn't sound out of place out of a Porcupine Tree song or whatever. You know, it's just very much a like I don't know, meditative, cool solo. So with the backdrop of it being about his dad, and the lyrics now make a lot more sense. So I feel like a huge asshole. But it's a hell of a song. Our family on our side just had a loss there. I'm going to send this song to them. I hope it'll help. You know, this is good stuff. Thank you, Andrew.
Oh, well, I do what I can. But the rest of the album is a rocker, so don't worry about that.
All right, good. Okay, see, I thought I was scared that this was Wolfgang Van Halen's kid, like trying to go like Goo Goo Dolls.
This is not an every bad boy has his soft side situation. Don't worry about that.
Okay, apologies, Wolfgang. Apologies. No. And his name's Wolfgang. That was the kind of guy Eddie was, wasn't he?
Oh, listen, classical through and through. Yeah, but yeah, Wolfgang or Wolfie or whatever you want to call him. He is a chip off the old block and then some, because he's not just a great guitar player. He sings. He plays bass, keyboards, drums. He's a total polymath. And this is like a legit solo project. He does all of it himself. And he's put out 2 albums so far with this name, and they've just been real good, solid rock albums.
Well, I got to get into that. I guess I'll move into my next one.
I believe you shall, yes.
It's another band that I am looking to extol the virtues on, much like Dr. Colossus. It's a band called Snail, and this is from their album. I think it was 2008, 9. Anyway, it's from their album Terminus, and it's the opener called Recursion. I just love that riff so much. And I'm glad, because if you're like me and love that riff, be glad, because that song is mostly that riff. It's not really the vocals themselves, not really indicative of what Snail does. A lot more melody in their vocals than this song. The song's a little bit more aggressive. But Snail's long been a stalwart of this scene, and they're old favorites of the old stonerrock.com, RIP. And yeah, I just, anytime I can get anyone listening to Snail, my work on Earth is a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2 things. There's another rock band called Snail. It's on Wikipedia. That's
Yes.
not this band.
Correct.
So just be aware of that. Other thing is, I found the lyrics to this song on their Bandcamp. I was a bit taken aback by one of the lines, because the first verse goes, "The crest of meaning, ancient cryptic prose, the holy impetus of fire. Recite the alchemy unto my host, somatic, corporeal abandon." Ooh, it's all dark and spooky. Then the second verse goes, "Vapor and heresy, a minion's role. Let's transmit memes that unseat power." And I was like, wait, what? Transmit memes? Because I know meme has a different meaning outside of the context of the internet. Like, it's an idea that spreads
Figures, yeah.
within a culture or whatever. Yeah, but all I could think of is, like, Bad Luck Brian, or Success Kid, or Distracted Boyfriend. Like, it took me out of it for a second there, Cole. I'm not gonna lie.
I get it. Yeah, it's one of those things that our culture has just decided that word is now means this now. You know, you don't think memes like as in like the scientific way that it was developed in terms of like passed down behaviors or whatever.
Right,
It
right.
is, crazy ex-girlfriend, and dancing cat. But yeah, I get it. One of the tropes of this style of music that I love so much is it's unnecessarily complicated lyrics are very much our jam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just picturing lyrics like, the Dark Lord rises to claim his throne as crying Michael Jordan stares at his prize, or something like that,
He
but,
took that personally.
Yeah. All right, well, my next pick here, this is another family band here, who, for some reason, sing the theme song to Dynamite Now, which is a little random, but hey, whatever, man. It's not my show. This is the Pointer Sisters, Anita, Ruth, and June, and this is from their big 1983 album, Breakout, and this song is Automatic.
Look what you're doing to me. I'm utterly at your whim. All of my defenses down. Your camera looks through me with its X-ray vision, and all systems run aground. All I can manage to push from my lips is a stream of absurdity. Every word I intended to speak winds up locked in a circuitry. No way to control it. It's totally automatic. Whenever you're around, I'm walking blindfolded, completely automatic. All of my systems are down, 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 down.
Automatic. So that is Ruth singing lead there with her very distinct, deep contralto voice. And listen, if you're not moving and grooving to that one, there's something wrong with you, all right? Because it's such a fun 80s funky synth dance number. I was dancing when it was playing right now. No way to control it. It's totally odd. I'm dancing right now again, Cola. So
Thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. It won a Grammy, went to number 5 on the Billboard charts. And this is like the eye of the storm of the Pointer Sisters. Like, they had hits in the 70s, but early to mid 80s, you had this, you had I'm So Excited, Neutron Dance, Jump for My Love, Slow Hand. So they were on point, you might say, Cola.
Well done. This song just screams 80s. Like, it's like if I'm a producer and I tell like an editor, I need 80s, like this, you play this song, it's like perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for. And it's kind of you're absolutely right. It's very much like you can't sit down and do things. It's now moving its way into my get work done mix. Because it just, you can't kind of be still about it. And unlike most of my music, which is like kind of,
Get stoned and just sit around.
Yeah. Like this is a get stoned, but it's more like you're getting stoned while you're like dusting,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and similar to the Bee Gees, Ruth is the last OG Pointer sister left. Other ones have all died, because originally it was Anita, June, and Bonnie Pointer, another sister, and then Ruth joined. They made it a quartet, and then Bonnie left, and now it's Ruth, I think her daughter and her granddaughter doing it, but they're still called the Pointer Sisters, I guess because the Pointer mother, daughter, and granddaughter is a bit too wordy, I think, in the case of
the Pointer family. It's
just it's not the same. Not the same there, but
they already got all these posters printed out.
It's a whole to do, of course, yeah. But yeah, great song, a lot of fun. What's the next pick there, Cola?
The next one is from a band called Yob, a very pretty prolific doom metal band. And this is what I would consider their radio hit, coming in at a lean 7 minutes and 54 seconds, is the song Ether from their second album, Catharsis. Yob is very much known to this day for very much being they're very verbose. Like, one track is usually like 12 minutes. I remember I saw them open for Neurosis once, and they played 2 tracks. They played a song and we finished it. We're all, yeah. They're like, all right, this is our last song. And it's like, well, it's
30 minutes later, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's one of those. They're one of those bands, and this is from their earlier years when they were still very much influenced by Sleep. They've since it's very much much more ambient now, and still very much on the doom side. Mike Scheidt, the guitarist vocalist, and he's I don't know, he very much went through some health problems and then came back, and very much his albums are very much indicative of a lot of what he goes through.
Yeah, this song, it makes me appreciate the people who put lyrics on the internet, because I could barely understand what the hell this guy was saying. Mm-hmm. He sounded like Dave Mustaine at the bottom of a well. Hello me, meet the real me. That's basically my entire thought on this song here, Cola, is just how hard it was to hear the guy singing.
Would you believe it that he has an acoustic album and he kind of sounds the same way?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
It is sort of his style. It takes some getting used to, Like, I've got my twin brother, who is probably the only other person who's as into this shit as I am. Can't stand Rush. Like, can't stand Geddy Lee specifically. Like his vocals. But he loves Yob, and I'm just like, I don't know. To me, it's like, it's, Geddy Lee, you can kind of understand, because he's like, you can understand what he's saying, and Mike is very much like, you have to read the lyrics of what he's saying, it's very much designed to be, they're very much albums like you are to be listening to this on a record, reading the lyrics from the insert.
Well, we go from that to a very well-known artist here, a big favorite of mine, Depeche Mode. And I went with the song off of one of their later albums from 2005, an album called Playing the Angel. And this song is called Precious.
Angels with silver wings shouldn't know suffering. I wish I could take the pain for you. If God has a little, there was so little left to
That's Gollum's favorite song right there. Depeche Mode, much like Tears for Fears, they're one of those bands that can take very serious subjects and make a pretty catchy song out of it. This is about Martin Gore, one of the main guys in the band, divorcing his wife and him being worried about how it will affect his kids. So it's another heavy subject there, and even the synth pop music is pretty serious, ba na na ba. But it's still a pretty good song all the same, and it's become like a concert mainstay as well. There's a later stage Depeche Mode there for you, Cole.
I was shocked because I'm not the biggest Depeche Mode guy. I mean, I respect them. They're just never, like I said, I have a lane. But when I heard this song, I was like, man, why wasn't this a radio hit? Why have I been listening to Embrace the Silence or whatever? This song, but I realized then I found out it came out like in 2005. It's like this could have fit into their whatever, when they were really on the radio a lot. And you're absolutely right that that's my seriously, I this song was a revelation to me. Probably it's easily my favorite song that you put on this list. Because I looked into it, I'm like, why wasn't this a radio hit? And then of course I found out about the backstory about it, and it makes the song even that much harder. Incredible song, and I will probably still end up being an ignoramus regarding Depeche Mode. But man, that song kicked ass.
Yeah, I don't know if this is controversial or not. I think I actually prefer later era Depeche Mode and that sound, kind of 90s onward. Not that I don't like the 80s stuff, of course, for sure, but I just prefer how Dave Gahan's voice sounds and that more modern production, I guess, where it gets a little bit darker and heavier, I guess. But yeah, Depeche Mode, one of those bands with a giant catalog to discover. So
yeah,
if you want to dive in, be my guest.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it really is incredible because his voice, I'm not as I said, I'm the Depeche Mode guy, so I didn't pick up on the differences in the production or anything. It just sounded like it was something that could have been right off of whatever Reach Out and Touch Faith was on, A Personal Jesus. Sorry, I know songs, I do. Anyway, I guess we can move on to the next one here. It is a band that is coming on tour. They are coming to Denver. I am going to be there because they just kick so much ass. They are from Sweden. They are Truck Fighters, and this is the song Warhead. I love that part. But no, it's all instrumental, and it starts off very aggressive. It's to me, it's like it's almost to me it evokes like a pro wrestling entrance theme, but then it kind of, as it ends out, it gets really mellow at the end and kind of fades. I saw this band in Santa Ana, and they played Manhattan Project right before this song, which is fitting. They are, if you ever get a chance to see this band live, do so. They make any stage they are on feel like the biggest stage. It feels like the biggest stage you've ever seen them on. Just incredible live act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fun fact, Truck Fighters was the original name for Transformers. Huh. Truck Fighters, more than meets the eye. Yeah, this is a fine instrumental. If you look up the song, though, on Genius.com, it has lyrics about the Soviet-Afghan war from the 80s. Talks about, like, soldiers of Islam, guns and weapons. And I was so confused because, as you just heard, there are no lyrics in this song, especially those. But I had a hunch, and I did a quick search. There's another song called Warhead from 1980 by this English punk band called UK Subs. And there must have been a mix-up, and they put the lyrics for that song with this one. So, mystery solved, I guess, there, Cola. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, it may have been a prank. Like, I can imagine that, like, Truck Fighters are very much of that style of people that I don't have this album on record or anything, but I could very much imagine that the lyrics to an instrumental song would just be a report of the Afghan Civil War.
Also, all the members of the band have fake names that end in O. Dango, Ozo, Enzo, Franco, Fredo, Paco, Pedro, etc. I was hoping for Groucho, Harpo, Chico, Zeppo, Gummo, all the stars. Right. All the stars are here.
I guess that's another reason why they endear myself. I'm such a Marx Brothers fan, and I like bands that get themselves identities. And if you listen to Truck Fighters, I call them stoner rock and desert metal or whatever, but they're very much like, they're more catchy than anything. To me, Gravity X, I mean, Andy will probably disagree with me, but to me, it's a 5 album. Their album Gravity X it's a seminal desert rock album. And so to me, Truck Fighters, go see them live, listen to them. They're just a hell of a lot of fun, and they don't come out with, they're not like release machines. But they don't often come to the States. So yeah, they're just really, really great. I highly recommend that everyone go see them live if they're coming near you.
Mm-hmm. All right, my next pick here. This is my most obscure pick of the episode. This is an indie artist through and through. She's from Winnipeg, and her name is Kat Yahnke, and that's spelled Jahnkee. Kat Yahnke. This is from her 2010 album, The Stories Are Taking Their Toll, and this song is called Apple.
For you to say, I love you, I need you, I want you to stay. I placed it up high on my shelf for a day, and long for a bite as it rotted away. It just goes to shows that anything can happen.
So I guess quirky would be a good way to describe that song, or adorkable, with the accordion and the strings and the good enough just isn't good enough. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Again, a stark contrast with the stoner metal there, but it's another fun case of me randomly finding a song and just really liking it. There was this web series called Control, CTRL, starring Tony Hale from Veep and Arrested Development, and this was the theme song. And years go by, and just randomly I think, oh yeah, that song by that lady from the web series, I wonder what that was. I listened to the song again, and then I thought, let me hear the whole album. And I listened to the album, and the album is really good, and I like it a lot. So, yeah, this is a case where I just, the randomness of my brain and my references led me to just a really nice indie pop album there, Cola.
TV themes, right? We gotta love them. They get us into so much shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I've heard this and I kind of want to hear Tom Waits sing it. You know, like it sounds like something that
Good enough, just
good
enough.
it goes, you know. But it's a cool song. I get like I'm surprised that it's such a because you're right. It is kind of a smaller band. It took me a little bit to find it, but I'm surprised it's not bigger, man, because it's a super cool, catchy song, and like. I don't know. The kids are really into that more theatrical kind of style of things. You kind of see it now. And it's, like I said, very much I'd like the sea shanty kind of feel to the song. Cool song. Really, really cool song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is someone who I don't know anyone else who listens to her, really. And I know on Spotify her numbers are very, very low, which isn't, the be-all, end-all, but still it's pretty indicative of where she's at popularity-wise. But still, she's very talented, and there are plenty of examples of people with high talent and low exposure. It's the nature of the business, sadly. But yeah, if much like how you are pushing some of these, lesser known stoner rock bands here, Cola, if I can push people towards Cat Yankee, one or two people, I'll have done my job, I guess. There.
Well, you got this one for sure, because that album, that song rules. I think I will give that album a spin. A recommendation from Mr. Rich will lead me there. I guess go into the next one. Is a band that is means a lot to me. Apologies to Case Lowe, because I know he hates this band. But it is a band that is pretty much the closest thing I have to a religion, or used to be, is a band called Neurosis. This is a band, this is off the first track off of their EP Sovereign. Their track is called Prayer. It's difficult to put into words exactly how important this band is to me. I have traveled to out of state. They're pretty much the only band I've ever traveled for to go see from the time I was 15 years old. They mean a lot to me. They're dead now because their guitarist Scott Kelly turned out to be a huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I wanted to put a Neurosis song, and it's hard because it always sucks. I liken it to when someone that you really liked, like I imagine a lot of people felt the same way with Chris Benoit, right? When that was taken from them, and like now that fandom is taken. So it took me a while to listen to Neurosis after the whole Scott Kelly thing went down, because it was so personal to me, and then all the shit went down with it, and then I finally started listening to it a little bit. And it's a bummer because the drummer for the band Neurosis, Jason Roeder, he was also the drummer for Sleep for quite a while, and Sleep's no more. I guess Matt Pike's just happy doing a High on Fire, and Al's doing whatever, and Jason Roeder's kind of like having to sell his gear and not really having a lot, and which is just a fucking tragedy, because to me he's one of the best drummers of his generation. He's so good, and he was so important to this act, and I don't know, Jason, if you're listening, like, thank you, because you were instrumental in so much of this thing that was Neurosis. And I know Gabe Sapolsky really liked him too. I know that.
I was about to say, tying this to wrestling, Gabe Sapolsky,
huge Neurosis fan. I know.
Huge Neurosis fan.
The only conversations I ever had with the guy was about Neurosis.
Yeah, so in between booking Classic ROH and Dragon Gate USA and Evolve, he was rocking out to Neurosis. So there you go. But yeah, this is a real roller coaster of a song because it starts off very quiet, as you heard, with the spoken word intro, and then it goes along and gets a little louder, and it builds up to this big thing, and then it gets quiet again, and it builds back up. So compared to your other picks there, I was expecting, pure aggression and power from the jump, but it's more complex than that.
That's kind of Neurosis in a nutshell. I mean, you want power and aggression up front. They've got that in spades, but they, especially this time when they came out with this EP, they were kind of transitioning away from the more aggressive sound and really getting to more of a kind of a softer sound with Eye of Every Storm, and then that would eventually become Eye of Every Storm, and then they kind of came back to being really big, large, aggressive riffs. And they kept that going until essentially the wheels fell off, and the wheels fucking fell off. Neurosis isn't for everybody. I say that knowing, like, if you don't like Neurosis, there's probably good reason. It's just they're very much an acquired taste. But what I do know is that if you're into them, like, you're into them, like, and so. Shout out to the community of Neurosis that really just like took it on the chin with the whole Scott Kelly thing, because like I don't know, it's hard to compare what happened, and so it sucks, and I'm glad to just shout out and just remember that the music itself still is very, very good, and that dynamic that you talked about, Andrew, is very much like vintage Neurosis.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a good way to transition to my second to last pick here, because Scott Kelly was a guest star on some songs by this band, and the band is Mastodon. And this is from their 2009 album Crack the Sky. I went with the opening track on the album. This is Oblivion.
Breaking all the fingers and the nails from my hand. The eyes of the child see no wrong. Ignorant bliss and bending lows. Bright eyes fading faster than stars falling. How can I tell you that I tell you I'm falling from grace, 'cause I've been away too long. Leaving you behind was my lonesome song. Now I'm lost, falling from grace, 'cause I've been away too long. Leaving you behind was my lonesome song. Now I'm lost in oblivion.
So, Crack the Sky was my first Mastodon album, and it's still my favorite. I like a bunch of their other albums, don't get me wrong, I love their albums, but I always come back to this one, because it's got this, Quintessence, The Czar, The Last Baron, and what I love about Mastodon is they'll bring the heavy, they'll bring the noise, they'll bring the ruckus, but they're not afraid of a good hook and a good melody. And this song is an example of that, because the verses and the pre-chorus are all just, chugga-chugga riffs. But then the chorus hits, and it slows down a little bit more. It gets a little bit more melodic, a little bit more groovy. Falling from grace, 'cause I've been away too long. And that just hits my sweet spot, for sure. So I'm bringing my own medal to the occasion here.
I appreciate I am in full agreement with you regarding Mastodon's Crack the Sky. It was not the first album I heard. I remember anxiously awaiting its release when it came out. My first exposure to Mastodon was actually them opening for Neurosis in New York. So I discovered them Leviathan, which up to until Crack the Sky came out was I thought that album was just as good as it ever got. And then this album comes out and it still holds. And to your point, they bring the chunk of that part of the kind of bridge toward the end, that
Yep. Ba-bum.
Yeah. And also it's like, it's cool that like this was the album that was the most jarring for a lot of Mastodon fans at the time, because like you heard like Brand singing, like the guy who's singing the verse, it's their drummer, Brand Daler, who can actually, he's got a set of pipes on him. I actually saw him. He covered Judas Priest "Screaming for Vengeance" for that 2 minutes to Late Night guys.
Yeah.
He's got a set of pipes on him. So I love this album. I love this track. And yeah, I've kind of fallen off Mastodon honestly after this album. Like it's not that I haven't. I haven't disliked much of their stuff, but to me, they haven't hit this high as Crack the Sky, and that's okay because not a lot of bands do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw them open up for Primus back in 2018 when they were touring Emperor of Sand, which is also a pretty great album too. But yeah, it's not every day that you get a metal band with 3 different singers.
Right.
And they all sing on this song. Brand sings the verses, Troy sings the pre-chorus, and then Brent Hines, the scariest looking man in the world.
He is a terrifying looking human.
Sings the chorus. He is a very, very scary looking dude.
Especially when he's singing. When he's into it, like he looks like his head's about to explode. Terrifying man.
Look, any man with face tattoos it's always gonna give me a little bit of pause, but it does make the band unique in that sense for sure, Cola.
Yeah, and I actually saw them when they were touring under this Crack the Sky. It was them at Death Clock at the Hammerstein Ballroom, yeah, they did most of Crack the Sky in that thing, and like I love, especially in Crack the Sky in the Baron, when they call back to this verse, that falling from a gray, like they call back to it at the Baron. I'm like, that's I anytime a band calls back to itself, like you're pushing an open door. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Mm-hmm. All right, Cola, what's your final pick of the episode?
So my final pick is a band called Golden Void. It is kind of a side project for Isaiah Mitchell, the guitarist for Earthless, and his wife, who plays for a band called Assemble Head in the Sunburst Sound. But they had this side project called Golden Void, and this was the final track off of their debut titular album, Golden Void, and it's called Atlantis. Andrew, I'm very curious if your abilities were able to pull up any lyrics for this song, because I have looked high and low. I own this fucking album on vinyl, and the lyrics sure aren't there either. So it's very much a feelings type of song for me. It's builds up to a very climactic thing, and then again, you're picking up on a theme here. It kind of stops, and then it comes right back up to higher highs. Essentially, the idea, that it's, the kick out at one, so to speak, to tie it all back. Is that it's the soft and then gets right back up to it.
I will admit, part of me was hoping this would be a cover of the Donovan song.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Way
that
down
song's
below
so
the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, love that song.
Where I wanna she may be. But this is pretty good too. I like this one. I like how it's a bit more melodic than other picks, especially with the vocals. And it's about Atlantis in the ocean. And your first pick was about this undersea world. So it's like poetry. It rhymes.
That's right.
You know?
Thank you. That's right. And I totally, absolutely did that on purpose.
Also, I was looking up the band here. I don't know if they're still active, but one of the members is a lady named Camilla Softly.
Softly's at the time, Softly Mitchell. I don't know if they're still married. Him and her.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But I looked her up. She does like Reiki, crystal healing. She's also a green witch, an ordained pagan minister,
all of that,
and
tracks.
a priestess of the Sisters of the Burning Branch tradition under the mentorship of Granny Moon. So,
agreed. Yes,
a very spiritual band going on here.
Yeah. Well, they're named after a Hawkwind song, Andrew. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it like her project when they were doing this, when I think she played keyboards. Her regular band was called Assemble Head and Sunburst Sound. It's
that lines up. That lines up. Oh my goodness! All right, well, my last pick of the episode here. We just saw this man in a very, very creepy Super Bowl commercial for Mountain Dew Baja Blast. It's Seal, and many years before his face was put on an actual seal's body, like a fucking nightmare. He put out his self-titled debut album in 1991, and this is the big single off that album. This is Crazy.
People walking through my head. One of them's got a gun to shoot the other one. And yet together they were friends at school. Miracles will happen as we speak. But we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. So we're never gonna survive unless we are a little.
So my knowledge of Seal and his oeuvre, his body of work, is pretty limited. It's basically like this and Kiss from a Rose. But man, what a pair of songs those are.
I was going to say, you were like everyone else.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's a great singer, no doubt about it. And I love the funky waka waka guitar mixed in with like these airy keyboards. And it's just a song that soars, you know, in a sky full of people, only someone to fly, isn't that crazy? And it's produced by Trevor Horn as well. And yeah, just one of those songs I can listen to it over and over and over again and never get sick of it. So yeah, this song gets the seal of approval from me. Oh, I did it again. You can't stop me, baby. You can't stop me.
Well done. Boy, if you like hearing this song again and again and again, you should have when it came out. You couldn't go anywhere. The song was everywhere. The second it started playing, I'm like, oh my god. But it's kind of a crazy song, right? Because it's like it feels like a transitional species between like the 80s and like the 2000s. Like I feel like this song would fit in on the Matrix soundtrack.
I mean, Neo does fly, right. So and you know,
the way it starts out, the do 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 do, and then the end, the drum, the big heavy drums. You know, like you know that I feel like I can see that going on in like a club where Neo's trying to find Morpheus or whatever. You know, and it's kind of ahead of its time. I don't know. It's a weird kind of time capsule. Is any of the songs from this era? Like I said, they're kind of these transitional species between what was and then what's coming.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, Crazy as a song title, very common. There are plenty of other crazy songs I could have went with here. Aerosmith, Gnarls Barkley, Patsy Cline. There are just so many of them out there, Cole, that's for sure.
We love going crazy. The music's, music loves going crazy. It's it's an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're on a crazy train of all
right,
things.
I know,
so
right? Thanks, Ozzy.
The madness goes on the rails. It's wild. It's wild. So, but all right, those were our picks. That was the episode, and man, what an episode this was, Cola. This is the beauty of the show. Even with our two lists, two very, very, very different lists, this was still such an amazing episode. So enthusiastic and nerdy, and just plain fun. So thank you for being here, Cole. Thanks so much.
Like I said, I even if I never get invited back because everyone's going to run me off with pitchforks, never want to hear marijuana rock again. I really appreciate you allowing me to kind of talk some music with you, man. It was I really had a good time. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Of course. Anytime. Yeah. Any plugs you want to give it all?
No, I don't have any plugs. Yeah, you come visit me on the Discord. I generally kind of, you can see me, I don't know. It's a fun place. It gets wacky. It gets a little wacky, but if you know how to, the music channel in particular is a very, very cool place to be. It's, you're going to find people that can really talk ball, again, to steal a euphemism, musically. So you got to come correct. But I'm looking forward to being ridiculed en masse from that channel after this episode comes out.
I will stick up for you. I will defend your right to play all this stupid, crappy stoner rock.
That's
damn
right.
it! I'll stick up for you, man. So Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, of course, voicesofwrestling.com for all of these shows, episodes, reviews, previews, articles, things of that nature. Bluesky at Music of the Mat and at Just Andrew. If you want to leave a comment about this episode, share your picks. Again, voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. That's also where I post the Spotify playlist for each episode there. And make sure you subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, your podcast player of choice. Leave a nice rating and review. Okay, the playout song here. This is a band from the 70s. You may not know the name, but you might know the song. This is a band called Ides of March. And this is their biggest hit. It's from 1970. Another funky little brew here. It's called Vehicle. Thanks again, Cola.
Thanks a bunch.
Hey, well, I'm a friendless stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car? I got pictures, got candy, I'm a lovable man, and I can take you to the nearest star. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman. By now I'm sure you know that I love you, I need you, I want you, got to have you tried. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. A movie star, I'm gonna take you to a Hollywood. But if you wanna stay just like you are, you know I think you really should. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman. By now I'm sure you know that I love you, I need you, I want you, got to have you child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you.
Music of the Mat is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. The songs used throughout this show are property of their respective copyright holders.
My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of The Good, The Bad, and The Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines. And we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voices of Wrestling Network.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.